Yeah, it really does.
What, here?
Yeah. What's going on today?
Well, I come here to try to get Duke in. And I'm a Republican. I got the card and everything. Moved out here and met her from New Orleans. So, see what I could do out here.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I'm here because and they've asked me to come. She's trying to be a delegate for Duke. So she asked me to come because I was,
What's the event, though?
it's a caucus, that's all I know.
Do you know what happens at a caucus?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Republican Party is going.
Can you say that again? I'm sorry.
This is where the Republican Party, the voters of the Republican Party, choose delegates for the senatorial election coming up in November.
So what will people be doing in here?
We're going to be choosing delegates, basically, voting for each candidate or person who's trying to run is going to get a certain number of delegates to go to the state capitol and cast ballots for whoever they decide to put in the office that's up for election in November. And I believe it's J. Bennett Johnson, of course, is a senator. That is, his post is up for re-election.
Have you always been a Republican?
Yes, since 1971.
And what does this indicate in terms of the Republican Party? Got so many people out here today.
People are not, well, of course you had to have been a Republican for the past 30 days to take part in this election, this caucus. Let's move up this way, place in line. But the party means very little anymore. It's what the person who's running for the office is all about. And it doesn't matter if they're a Republican, Democrat, Independent, populist, or whatever. It's going to be a race based strictly on issues. It's an issue race. It's not going to be a party race. I believe in this one it will be. That's right. This is going to be probably the most widely covered and widely detailed senatorial race in the history of the country because of the people running in it, or because of one individual running in it.
It's a very cold morning this morning, not very good weather. Why are so many people here?
Because it's that important. It's an important. This is going to be a key race to determine a lot of political avenues for the rest of the state, the rest of the country for the next 20 years, perhaps. And so this is a crucial election.
Nice.
Caucus, and we're trying to get some delegates, pick some delegates to be representative of our districts. And we're a Ben Baggert fan, and we're here to support him today because we feel he's the best man. He's
Have you been a Republican for a long time?
Yes, for about 15 years, but I've never really taken an active part. This is my first real active part. And, so I'm here learning today as well as taking part.
15 years ago must have been kind of lonely to be a Republican in Louisiana.
Well, I wasn't in Louisiana. I spent 20 years in the Air Force, so we moved around.
Why do you think so many people are here this morning in such bad weather?
I think more people are realizing that we have to stand up and go out and do our part, that the time for sitting back and getting the wrong people in office, especially in Louisiana, because of the government and the way it is, that we're trying to get the people that we choose in there, and rather than sit back and let other people do the work. We realize that it's time that we wake up.
Do you think Louisiana politics has changed at all?
I think it's changing. I think it's getting better, and beginning with our governor and things. I believe that the politics in Louisiana is beginning to look up, and I think that's why we see all these people here today.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thanks for coming.
Good morning, Mr. Duke.
Appreciate y'all coming out very much.
Well, I mean, it's a cold day.
All right. What was the question?
We wanted to have somebody explain to us what's happening here today.
Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to break up into our Central Committee districts. And there'll be a series of delegates which will be elected and alternates which will be elected. And those delegates will go to the state endorsement convention, which will be in January. And whoever wins that endorsement convention wins the official endorsement of the party in the race. It doesn't preclude people from running against Jay Bennett, but that's what the process is.
Why so many people showing up on a morning like today, bad weather?
I think there's a lot of interest. I think because people in Louisiana realize that Bennett Johnston needs to be retired next year, that he's out of touch with the people of this state, that he's voted for tax increases, that he voted against the Bork nomination, that he's really hurt the state in a lot of ways, and we need a change.
What are you going to do here today?
I've got a number of delegates here, a number of people who will vote for our delegates, and we're going to try to win as many delegates as we can to the endorsement convention. That's it. Thank you. You're welcome.
Jim, did you see any of the young Republicans? I need somebody for Hunter. Do you see any of them around here? I need. Find me one. I got to get some copies made for us for him.
Well, let's see. I don't know. Why?
Can you tell us what's going on here today?
Yes, certainly I can. This is the caucus.
For somebody that doesn't know anything at all about it, this is which caucus for what party?
Well, it's a caucus by the Republican Party to elect a candidate to be endorsed by the Republican Party.
Why are so many people here today?
Because we want to vote for the right man.
You've been a Republican a long time?
Yes, sir.
When did you first become a Republican?
Oh, many years ago. I don't want to tell my age.
Have you always been an activist, or have you been outside?
More or less, I happen to be a delegate for Mr. Baggett.
Have you worked in politics for a long time, or taken more than a passing interest?
Well, not really. About the last 10 or 15 years.
It strikes us that people in Louisiana get more involved in politics than others.
Could be very possible. You're quite welcome.
Can you explain to us what this event is today and what's going to happen?
Well, this is the Republican Party caucus, and we're trying to decide what candidates the Republican Party is going to have on the ticket.
So what are all these people going to do?
We're going to decide, hopefully today, as to what candidates we want to support.
How do you decide in a caucus?
Well, you come in and you listen to all the candidates, and then you get your central committee and you support one or the other. So that's what we're here, is show them which one we support.
Why are there so many people here on a day like today, such bad weather?
Because we feel like it's a very important election. Very active, yes. Yeah, no, Mississippi. Not anymore, any less, about the same.
That's in the middle of a mayor's election. But he's doing fine. He's in love. Wonderful. So he's doing good. Doing good. He's excited about it all.
About what this all means today, the Republican Party. I mean, you know, at one point you yourself were a Democrat. I mean, in looking at the amount of people that are coming here today and also your own career, what does this all indicate?
Well, it indicates that we've got a strong outpouring of Republican sentiment here, especially in Jefferson Parish and across the state. Our party's getting bigger and stronger. It's fun to have a party that where we have a lot of competition for slots like nomination to run for the United States Senate. I think that the upcoming campaign, Bennett Johnson has done an awful job as a U.S. Senator, so we've got to field the best candidate we can. Today we'll elect probably around 40% of the delegates that go to the state convention in January to nominate the Republican nominee. The other 60% are already automatic delegates.
For somebody that doesn't know anything at all about politics, not even thinking about this campaign in any kind of specifics, but thinking about the change in state politics in general, talk about it using yourself as an example. You were once one party with another party. What happened? Describe it.
Well, when I got elected to office in 1979, I was a young man, Democrat. Got elected with everybody was a Democrat. Got elected to the legislature with with a lot of reform in mind to try and change things, and found that the Democratic Party was one of the groups that was holding us back from reforming a lot of things because of the special interest groups that were holding it down and not allowing the middle America to be a part of that party. So in 1984, I switched parties to the Republican Party, and have been more successful at getting the Republican Party to better represent the middle of the road and the conservative middle class than the Democratic Party does. So it's been a shift in the party structures being able to represent those people, which is the vast majority of the citizens of Louisiana.
Has there really been a change in the state politics, though?
A change in state politics? Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, the election of Buddy Roemer. Buddy Roemer is basically a Republican at heart. I mean, he's a strong anti-tax. Mine is the tax reform issues, which are a separate debate on what those were. Other than that, I mean, Buddy Roemer has been cutting government, less government, doing a good job of putting things in shape. And I think that the legislature as a whole is a lot more conservative now. We got a strong Republican caucus within the legislature, 25 members. The politics has changed in Louisiana.
For people around the country, Louisiana politics usually has pretty strong images. Do you think the politics is really changing, though?
Oh yeah, I'm convinced it is, because it's not just Louisiana. You know, with Roemer, Mavis in Mississippi, and Clinton in Arkansas, our whole region is starting to have a whole new look to it. All of them Ivy League educated, intelligent, sharp individuals. So I think that the whole image in this region down here is changing. And Louisiana's at the bottom of the economic curve right now. You know, we've gone as far down as we're going to go. We're starting to slowly come back up. So as our economy starts to grow back on the other side, I think you're going to see a lot more attention focused down here, and a lot of that attention be given to the fact that we elected some reform-minded individuals to office. So that will help continue that move.
You know, politics down here for a long time has been seen as a very fun game. Does that mean the game itself has changed? It's not quite as much fun anymore?
Oh no, I still love it as much as ever. I have as much fun as I did the first day I got here, and I think everybody does. Politics is fun only from the aspect of what you see here today. You know, the amount of people that get to come out, and you get to see all your friends and folks, and everybody's coming out expressing their opinions. And it's even more fun when we start thinking about what's going on in Eastern Europe right now, with all the move worldwide towards more democracy, and more people now starting to value how much fun and the freedom of being able to express themselves all this political situation is. So I think it's still a lot of fun.
You said we're going through reform.
Let's go see Santa Claus. Come on.
History seems to show that the cycles get reformed, and then some of the old guys come back, the populist type, and then it's spend, and that's reform again. You don't think that might be going to happen when things
Well, I totally agree. We always go through cycles like that. The situation that may be different this time, is that the reformers may succeed. You see, in the past, they haven't succeeded. They haven't solved things. And in Louisiana, the populace has been educated to believe that when things are bad, just wait and government will take care of it, you know? And so I think that what I've saw around the state when I campaigned for Amendment 1 in October was that a lot of the people have said, I'm not waiting for government to solve my problems, and they're getting on with their lives for the first time in a long time in the state. And the reformists are starting to have an impact. We're starting to see a lot of change. And if they can stay in over the next few years when our economy makes an upturn, then they will get the credit for the upturn. Maybe not correctly the credit, but they will get the credit, so that will help stop this from going into that backroom cycle.
My other perception is that in Louisiana, ideology, orthodox political ideology, sort of has less to do with party membership than it might in some other parts of the country. People don't necessarily become Republicans because they support President Reagan, President Bush. They got other reasons. Do you feel that?
Well, Louisiana is basically a conservative state, and so if they did it strictly on party, we'd be a 55% registered Republican state. But we're not. And I mean, I've got good friends of mine who tell, some of my employees who say, oh yeah, I'm a Republican, but I'm registered Democrat. You know, what does it matter? I say, well, great, it doesn't matter, go register Republican, you know. But it's just one of those things where people don't really think that it's that important to be a Democrat or Republican, so they don't go change. But basically, their hearts and souls politically are in the Republican Party. Good.
Let me ask you a question.
All right.
Okay, is there a real difference between a Republican and a Democrat in Louisiana?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. There's a lot of difference between Democrat and Republican. I mean, I can't say we're different, but I mean, we have different philosophies. We seem to think differently about candidates and about issues. But I think we have worked very hard, been involved in Republican politics in Louisiana for 25 years. We've worked very hard to further the Republican Party, and I think we've done a very good job. I serve as National Committee Woman for the state of Louisiana, and we have, as you know, 3 members from each state that serve on the national board. Our Republicans here, I think, work harder because, they talk about the old phone booth theory that went on years ago. Well, that's where we started, but we have worked real hard to get out of there.
Can you tell us what the phone booth right now? Hold on 1 second. Okay. Can you tell me
There were so few of us that we could all fit in the phone booth.
The phone booth theory.
Well, in other words, that we had to do something.
Please say the phone booth theory.
So we know what you're talking about.
Oh, all right. The phone booth theory when I came to Louisiana was everything was Democrats. They told me I could not vote Republican in the state of Louisiana. Groups of us got together, and Charlton Lyons was running for governor. Ronald Reagan came down and stayed here for almost a week with us, and that was when I first met him. He was a friend of Charlton's. They combined together, and there were so few of us that we called ourselves the phone booth group. And there are still many of them. Our chairman, Billy Nungesser, was one of them, and some people from Shreveport, which were in this original group, and Betty Heitman, who is now in Washington. But we have had just tremendous success with getting volunteers, getting people to help us, because they all had the same feeling and felt the same way we did on issues. Everybody has their own agenda on what they think is important. So far, what we have thought important is what has come out to be what's important for a lot of the people in Louisiana.
So when did you first become a Republican?
1960, about 58.
So what 1950?
When I came down here, before that, I registered Democrat from Boston. They told me I couldn't register Republican. So I went back 2 children later and registered Republican. But at the time, they were telling everybody that. Of course, I understand that certain districts still tell you can't register Republican, you won't be able to vote. They don't tell you you can't register, but they do tell you that if you do register, you won't be able to vote. But we look forward today to a day that people can express their views, they can put their candidates up. If you feel strongly enough about a candidate, you get your people here, you get them to vote for your candidate, so that when we go to Baton Rouge in January, that your candidate will be one of the ones that will represent you and be a delegate for you at that convention. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Republicans and Democrats in Louisiana?
No, I don't think it's a difference in a sense of speaking. Everybody's just got their own priorities and, views on life. That would be a difference. Yes, it is then. Yeah.
How long have you been a Republican?
Since the first of the year.
So why did you become a Republican?
Well, I guess some of the things that are going on now, it's beneficiary to me and my race, my kind, myself, to the things they stand for now are more in line with what I'm standing for.
Well, let me ask you this, and try to repeat this question so we know what you're saying. Why are you here today?
Well,
Let's start by saying I'm here today.
okay, I'm here today because I'm trying to make a difference. I want to express my opinion and my thought. And I guess I can do so by coming here and participating in what's going on.
What is your thought today?
Well, I'm also waiting to see what's being put before me, I guess after I hear everything that's going on, I'll be able to put things together a little better. No, I wasn't. Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. Okay.
live with us for a week. Never again. We had a tough time financially.
So you want the one identified?
I mean, I gotta go slumming. It is caught. I had a big argument.
Please, anyone who does not have a name tag, it would be advisable now to go across the patio, out this door, and register where you can get a name tag.
The Vest Bank ones are 306, 201, and 202. Oh, that's nice. They're right over there.
Yeah, everything's all, yeah.
I'm sure.
Saturday the 13th.
Oh, okay. But you got to figure out. You got to tell these people how to do it. You got to know who the candidates are.
Oh, okay.
We only have 5.
We're going to
I know, but there's going to be more people have to accomplish, and they have to be nominated in there. People know how to do that. I mean, it's
let me see. You're
right.
79.
I've never done this before. Situation, you got to find somebody in the room that will nominate all of our candidates, and we have to have the same number as they elect from that caucus. In other words, from that district. You got to ask the district chairman how many people they elect. Take the first number, however number, or if you had to add something and say, all the Duke people, please come over here a minute.
Okay.
Fill up your list, and then let them write down and give a list of who they should vote for. In other words, who's going to support David Daniel. Daniel, we need you.
Thank you.
You're in District 79? I mean, do we need each one of these? All right, 79. 79.
Tony's got it over there.
Okay, Tony's handling 79. Okay. He can help too, huh? He can help too in terms of going to districts. See the districts we need somebody to organize.
Mr. Jolly? Mr. Jolly, when you get there, check with this guy right here. He's going to have the list of who our delegates are.
Right, I have one.
Who our delegates are. Check with him and you know who to vote for. Oh, wait, who is 83?
He's going to handle it.
What you do is in your 83
How about 84?
and you make a list, the same number of delegates and alternates that are going to elect them. Let's get people to sign up as delegates. You have a first, you find
You got my name, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
you might need more, because you want enough to fill the delegates and alternates, okay? Okay, so what you do is you ask the Duke people to come over there, and then you make a list, and then you let them know, you show them the list of who to vote for.
Okay.
In the voting.
All right.
So you want to fill every slate.
Okay.
Every person. No, it's different depending on the Republican registration.
Ours is 4 and 4.
In the one, no, in District 81, it's going to be huge.
It depends on which we have. We have some of the districts covered. Now we need to cover some others.
See?
Okay.
87.
Have no majority vote.
79 here. 79 delegate.
That's Tony.
You didn't, I know you didn't get to give me my time. You're in.
They're both.
There wasn't.
Oh, is that informed sources or McLaughlin?
No, I didn't see it informed sources. I saw McLaughlin.
What'd they say? Say I got a lot of.
Only one at first when it started talking, one of them said he doesn't have a chance when it came to for the final few words. He says 90.
Huh?
90.
90 to 10.
You. That's the rating you gave it. turn around. You're on camera.
Good.
Why am I for David Duke? Without David, this country can't exist. He's a great man. He has a lot of followers. He had the president, the vice president, everybody, even the vice president came down and said something against him. But what happened? He went in. We hope he'll do better. We know he will do better next time. Well, I didn't mean exists. I meant to say that
Why is the country going to be better off if David Duke stays?
because we need him badly.
Why is that? Why?
He's a great man.
What is it to leave in the what's he represent to you?
Okay, let's see. David Duke represents the American people. He tells them what they want to hear.
What do they want to hear?
Affirmative action, number one. Number two, to have equal rights for everyone, every human being. Sure. No, sir, I'll tell you when I switched. We had two of the worst presidents of the United States. One was Johnson, and the other one gave the Panama Canal away, which is Jimmy Carter. That's when I switched Republican. Even though you don't have to be a Republican to vote in any election in USA. And just think of this. I remember when I was a little boy, I'm going to change it a little. When I was a little boy, I was an altar boy. And the prayer was, Hail, Holy Queen, Mother of Mercy, Allah, and et cetera, and et cetera. For the conversion of Russia and what's happening today throughout the universe. Everything. Yes, sir. Okay, number one was Chep Morrison. No, number one was Earl Long. Number two was Chep Morrison. Number three was, let me think, please. Don't rush me. Number three was Jimmy Fitzmars. Did I mention Shep Morrison? He was a great man. Any more? Yeah, I was going to come in with it.
It is now 10:10. The chair calls to order this meeting for the District L Caucus as set forth by the Republican State Central Committee to elect delegates and alternates to the Republican State Convention on January 13th, 1990 in New Orleans for the purpose of endorsing a Republican candidate to run and win in the forthcoming race for the United States Senate seat in Louisiana. I would like to have Father Taramina please come to the podium. He will give the invocation. Father call on Roger Villery, who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag and also the striking of the colors.
We'll present the colors before the strike. Troop 70, please present the colors.
Saturday morning, a noon luncheon with Secretary of State, and I did write that as Secretary of State, but as Lieutenant Governor Paul Hardy, and Harvey wants me to save his introduction for later. And a leadership meeting Sunday morning. There's a fundraiser benefit that for the Republican elected officials on Saturday evening. Now, tickets are $80 per person. This is not. This is extra in addition to the $65. If you think they're normally $145 for whether it's a single or a double, but anybody who wishes to book a room at the Sheraton, it would be $80 flat, whether it's single or double. I hope that everyone here today, Congressman Livingston is here. He tells me that he has a prior commitment that he has to leave. We're going to jump a little bit out of order. I'm going to ask Wilma Von Vaden, who is my vice chairman of the caucus today, and also on my right is Kathy Chase. She's a parliamentarian, a professional parliamentarian. She's a member. Okay. Well, we have some redundancy there, but we'll talk to that. I would also we're asking the chairman of the Republican Party, Bill Nungesser, has requested, in the interest of time and the interest of fairness, that the candidates for the office of Senate not speak, because it would take, it's really an impossibility to do them justice, in as much as that the ones that we have here today, State Senator Ben Baggett, let's give them all a big ovation as soon as I finish. State Representative Quentin Dastu. Quentin. And State Representative David Duke. I know it's killing all three of them that they don't have an opportunity to talk, but I think everybody.
Been asked to talk on voter switchover, which is a simple process whereby a voter's party affiliation is changed from independent or Democrat to a Republican registration. It's accomplished simply by having a prospective new Republican complete and sign a change card, mailing that change card to Republican headquarters, which in turn forwards it to the proper officials for that individual's party affiliation to be changed. L, which is Jefferson Parish, has the largest number and the highest percentage of registered Republicans, more than any of the other 13 districts in the state and more than any of the other 63 parishes in the state of Louisiana. Our parish and district accounts for 1 of every 7 registered Republicans in Louisiana. Jefferson Parish has developed into the backbone of the Republican Party in Louisiana. Yet with all this achievement, registered Republicans make up only 27% of the voter registration in Jefferson Parish. Another 20 to 30% of the voters vote along Republican principles. They agree with our programs and they support our causes. But they are still not registered.
Races a year and a half ago, there were a lot of people talk about negative commercials. And there were some pretty negative commercials in your race directed at you. How did you feel about those commercials?
All right, the ones that were put on against me, well, you know, it's part of the game. You know, I think if you decide you're going to get into a race, you have to accept that's going to happen. But personally, of course, it does hurt to see that on television.
You know, we've been hearing a lot now about negativity in advertising on a national level. Is that something that's new in Louisiana too, or is that?
I think it's been going on for a long time, but I think you've seen more of it recently because it appears that it doesn't work. If you have enough money to put the ads on, and if your opponent doesn't have enough money to respond, that was the problem I had. I couldn't respond to every ad that came on against me because financially, not being the incumbent, I didn't have the resources that he had.
The commercial that made the most impression on me was Mr. Softy.
Yeah, I remember it well.
Were you surprised when that came out and you saw that?
I wasn't surprised, but that's a typical example of what I was talking about. When I was in the district attorney's office, I was the only assistant that had 2 death penalty cases go through to completion, to execution within a short period of time, relatively. And I wasn't able financially to come back on and say that I, in fact, had a strong record on law enforcement and that the things that he was saying were distortions. For example, he said I only had X number of jury trials. Well, that didn't account for the fact that the defendant couldn't waive a jury, and I have to try the case in front of a judge, and I had many more judge trials. So it's just a question of finances, I believe. If you have the money to come back and respond, you can rectify the impression that's being given by the negative ad.
Anybody ever call you Mr. Softy or anything?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I'd be in a shopping center or something, and they did it good-naturedly, and they say, "Oh, you're Mr. Softy." Not quite, but that's the impression it leaves with some people.
Go back for just 1 second and think. Do you remember where you were and what you thought the first time you saw that commercial?
Yeah, it was one of the few times, when I first saw the commercial, it was one of the few times I was actually at home watching the news. I had my little daughter in my lap, and she got a little upset by the ad, but you know, you have to take it in the right spirit. I was putting ads on that were negative against my opponent, and it's just one of the things that a campaign involves. If you can't handle it, you can't become involved in that type of a campaign. There's just no way psychologically that you could endure it if it bothered you that much that these ads were being placed on television that were negative or personal. Okay? Thank you. Good luck today.
We served as a Democratic candidate, as a Democratic official in Jefferson Parish. I was on the Jefferson School Board for 7.5 years. I've been an attorney in Jefferson Parish for 24 years and lived here for 28 years. I'm also presently serving as the East Bank Magistrate for the East Bank Traffic Court. Thank you very much.
Leon, I need to come this way.
Give us your name, please. Leon Ramus.
Are you going?
Independent, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Ben Baggett. Thank you.
Ann Lenz. I live in District 81, of course, and I am a Republican. I've lived in the district for 17 years. I'm a wife and mother. I work at Tulane University. I'm an administrative assistant. I am a David Duke supporter, and I've been a David Duke supporter ever since he first ran for office, and I urge everyone to vote for David. I think he will represent the district very well in the Senate. Thank you.
Okay, I have a list of delegates that I'd like to nominate. Right now, we're going to put them up on the board. If each one of these people would like to get up and introduce themselves. Okay, we're putting a list of delegates up here for David Duke. My name is Joe Boje. I'll be on the list. I'd like for each person who is on this list to come up here and introduce themselves to everyone else. First is Diane Lenz.
Okay, Joseph.
Okay, we have Diane Lenz, Anita Moreland. I need my list. Myself, Joe Boje. We're going to do that. Mike Preckner
running out of
already
room.
spoke.
Mike
Preckner.
Desk.
Mr. Ginzel, is it? Fausto Di Pietro, Kathy Donahue, Barry Palmisano, Anita Moreland, already spoke. Joyce Ross, Barry Donahue, Raymond Johnson, Myrtle Thompson.
Registered delegates, they all. Okay.
Good, Margaret Joyce.
They gotta be registered, they all registered as delegates?
She's here, Margaret Joyce.
Okay. Let her do that. Len do it. Please.
My name is Barry Donahue, and I've been living in Metairie most of my life. I'm a delegate. David Duke. I believe in everything that David preaches and everything that he says. Less taxes and land erosion. The state of Louisiana really needs help, and I think David would be the man to do it, and I would like to appreciate his vote for me as a delegate. Thank you.
Hello,
everybody. My name's Joyce Ross. I've lived in the district famous District 81 for over 25 years. I'm a David Duke supporter. I've been a David Duke supporter from the very beginning. I think the Republican Party needs David Duke. He stands for the issues, and that's what's important here. Please vote for me, Joyce Ross. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Raymond Johnson. I'm running as a delegate for David Duke. I've been a registered Democrat, and I just recently, within a year, switched over as a Republican. And I've lived in the 81st District for about a year and a half now, and just getting involved in politics. And I'd like you to vote for me, Raymond Johnson, as a representative for David Duke. Thank you.
And I want to personally nominate this man. And by the way, that's what can be accomplished in this election. Is tens of thousands of Democratic voters can come over to the Republican Party, get involved. That's who we've got to reach if we're going to grow and eventually dominate this state. Thank you very much.
My name is Marion Lawn. I've been active in the Republican Party for a number of years, and I would like to offer myself as a delegate for Ben Bagger. Thank you.
Okay, let me explain something to everyone here. You do not, to be a candidate, you do not have to be in the room, but you must be a registered Republican in District 81. Okay?
Practicing attorney in the city of New Orleans. In the early 1970s, I served as an advance man for President Nixon for 5 years on the White House staff. After that, I served as general counsel to the Federal Communications Commission. I now practice exclusively in the federal practice as a communications lawyer. And I would like to serve as a delegate for Ben Bagger.
Sugar Allen. Need I say who I'm supporting? I was born in Louisiana, better known as a Caucus. I went to little school, country boy, way out in the country. I'm also from the Irish Channel. I've lived in New Orleans since the age of 5. Wait. Sorry.
Okay, anybody, any other delegates?
Okay. I need more delegates. My last count, I needed 20. Anybody would like to serve to be a delegate? Appreciate it very much.